Year of record agus fáilte go Ballydesmond sit ar an teorna the cocky agus Kiri and saw the river right behind us, literally on the Cockkerry bounds. Ballydesmond's very first Duhallow Junior Football final. A great crowd here, possibly capacity crowd across from us by the time the ball is thrown in. The Newmarket Pipe Band, as is their tradition, centre of attraction here today. The teams now being led by their captains at the far side of the field, over at the where the crowd are mainly situated, over by the pavilion. The green and gold of Boherbue, led by experienced Carroll, one of the most experienced players on this Boherbue team, despite the fact that the programme says Dennis is only 27 years of age. Paul Murphy, of course, on the other side, a hugely experienced player. We'll come back to talk about his credentials later. These are the two captains. First Duhallow final for these two teams for some time. ROCKCHAPEL indeed did appear in a Duhallow final in Knocknagree. One that said, I want to forget, I see from the programme that Paul Murphy considers the 1996 final in Knocknagree and their defeat against Kiscame as his most disappointing football moment of his career, and I suppose that is saying something. Boherbue haven't been here for quite a long time. In fact, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that I think Boherbue have gone something like 10 years without winning a single championship match. And we're going right through the 90s when we talk about that. They had some great bouts, of course, with Knocknagree in the 80s. 4 finals in the early 80s that they were unlucky, really. They lost all 4. Then they came along and got some form of consolation in 1988 when they beat Knocknagree by 112 to 8 points at home in the Duhallow Championship final of 1988. Later beaten by this year's intermediate championship finalists by Newcestown in the county championship, and I suppose that was an ageing team that was coming to the end of its time. ROCKCHAPEL, on the other hand, have been there and done that. They've won the junior county title in 1987, and that was the last time, of course, they won the Duhallow Championship. That was a win over Kanturk down in Drumtariff. Kanturk have been the perpetual bridesmaids on many occasions. Kanturk, very disappointed, of course, to have lost only last Sunday down in Knocknagree in the semi-final, where Boherbue beat them with some late scores in some driving wind and some driving rain. Thankfully, the rain has stayed off today. Ballydesmond in absolutely superb condition. No surprise that the pitch here is as good as it is when you consider the work of the Kelly brothers, who have developed both this pitch and the one in Knocknagree. These are two superb pitches right skirting the Blackwater River. And I think you travelled in anything breadth of the country to find a major river, a county bounds river, actually skirting the side of the field. And somebody was joking there earlier that they have an implement at this ground that there is nowhere else in Ireland, and that is almost like a fishnet for getting the ball out of the river on the other occasion that it kick waywardly out. And we have every sort of a thing here today. We're looking down to the right at the electronic scoreboard. Duhallow board, of course, have been very, very modernised now and very far-seeing in getting all these electronic scoreboards and sponsoring them. We look down there at that scoreboard, we see the maroon and white of ROCKCHAPEL with a 0-0 score at the moment, and the green and gold of Boherbue, and all the flags sitting proudly, the ones of Castlemagner and Lyre from the first game, which Lyre won by a single point in the Junior B Championship final. And then, of course, the ROCKCHAPEL maroon and white, the green and gold of Boherbue, and pride of place in the middle, the orange and black of Duhallow, which is our division, the colours of our division. As we see the players walking up here beside us, they won't be very interested in the trillings at this stage. Their big interest will be as to whether they can focus and win this game. Great tension and excitement there. Carroll O'Connor leading Kevin Murphy. The first player from Duhallow, I believe, ever to win an All-Ireland minor football medal in the goalkeeping position, and one of the very first ever to represent Cork at minor and under 21 level on the same year, and that is saying something. Some other very good players there as we walk along the line. Aidan Buckley 2, Enda Hearn 3, and Kieran O'Connell 4. Right half back Conor Hickey, centre back James O'Connor, and 7 Michael Dennehy. Midfield Edmund Walsh and the aforesaid captain Carroll O'Connor. The half forward line Tomas Curtin, Tomas Curtin, Kieran O'Keefe, who was a fantastic under 21 player and has been very good in this championship, and of course Kieran Linehan, who has played for Boherbue for many years, has played for Duhallow and won a county medal and has played for the county. And inside James Daly, who we expect will probably roam today, does quite a bit of it. And the man-in-chief, the scorer-in-chief, of course, inside Roger Casey. He's the man that they'll all be watching, and it'll be interesting to see how Colin Murphy can shackle him if Colin actually does man-mark him. And Gerard O'Connell completes the lineup with left corner forward, and Gerard, of course, another very good young player, has forced his way onto this team. If I am correct, I do believe there is no player on this team older than Carroll O'Connor. This is a very, very young side. very well coached this year by Pat O'Shea. Joint managers Charles Anketel and John Linehan. They have a lot of subs, 15 subs there. I think Seamus Sullivan might be seen to be the father of that group, and I think he may have played the last time, or have been around the last time that they won a Duhallow Championship. Over on the other side, Rockchapel, Doughty Warriors indeed. 1987 Duhallow champions, 1987 Cork County Junior champions, 1988 Intermediate Football Championship semi-finalists where they lost to Kilshannig, 1988 County Intermediate champions, and there aren't many of those coming out of Duhallow. Beat Mallow in a replay in a titanic struggle in Milford in the north of the county, and on that day this present captain Paul Murphy was playing, and I believe also John Murphy would be the other remaining starting 15 player from that side, and that team lines out as follows: Tony Collins in goal, Conor Guiney at right back, Colin Murphy full back, Tim Mulcahy left back. In the half back line, David Murphy, Joe Cahill and TJ O'Callaghan. At midfield, Paul Murphy and JF Murphy as the band strike up the national anthem. There may be a change up front. Martin Casey at number 10, Thomas Mahoney at 11, Mossy Leahy at 12, and inside the aforementioned John Murphy, the Eagle Beaver player up there. Anthony MacDonald comes in at full forward. I don't know what's happened to Jeffrey Collins, he may have cried off, but certainly Anthony O'Donnell comes in, he's number 20, and PJ Murphy completes that line up at 15. And don't be surprised if you see PJ operate at full forward during this game, because he certainly did a lot of damage against Drumtariff in the semi-final with a high ball coming into him. He's very experienced. Himself and Mossy Leahy down that wing have a lot of aerial power. That is something they'll try and use to effect against possibly a smaller Boherbue team, but this is a very lively Boherbue side and they won't easily be denied. And now the tension mounts, and of course the man in the middle, we've nowhere without the man in the middle, Gerard Morton of Lyre Bantier. Not his first Duhallow final, but Gerard has a very, very experienced man himself, and will be very, very happy coming here today with his club just after winning the Junior B title. Shaking hands with the players on both sides. I think Rockchapel, whether they won or lost the toss, they are playing into this wind. Physically, aerial power-wise, they seem to be a slightly bigger team. Don't let that fool you, though, because Boherbue are very, very lively. Dennis Carroll is coming to midfield on the programme. Dennis says, maybe a bit of tongue-in-cheek, that his most admired player is Paul Murphy, who's his opposite number today. And, of course, they have played this year midfield and previous years with Duhallow senior football team, so they'll be very experienced players. Dennis came on as a sub in the 1998 county final for Duhallow and made a huge impression, has been there again this year. Paul is back with Duhallow this year, having come back, retransferred back to Rockchapel, back to the club of his birth. And Paul Murphy, of course, having played with Cavan, believe it or not, in the Ulster Championship for the last 2 years, a player of huge experience, massive firepower there. And the ball is in, and this eagerly elated final is on, and Paul Murphy has it, and he's driving it up. And it's Thomas Nanny takes the first pass, goes over to Martin Casey. Martin Casey on the ball, trying to trade the ball through, and it is that PJ Murphy's on the ball now. He's coming across, he's winding up for this one. Kevin Murphy inside, very, very safe, hugely experienced goalie, albeit he's only a minor, coming out there to centre back James O'Connor, walks it down to Edmund Walsh. Edmund Walsh out the far side, drives the ball in low, ball broken away, picked up, dropped again. Wee Tomas Curtin picks this up, a very dandy little footballer, taken by number 3 in the Hearn down, back down the wing, coming right through the middle, and there's an extra man back there, and that's the under 21 player TJ O'Callaghan, I think possibly the only player, the youngest player in this Rockchapel team. Thomas Mahoney picks it up, of course, a hugely experienced dual player, places hurling with Wheeling back to Paul Murphy, and that well-known left foot, that cultured left foot, all the way up to PJ. PJ is on it again, he's turning again, his man Aidan Buckley is trying to hang on to him, may have fouled him. PJ has the benefit of the advantage. Mossy Lee plays it out, and it's going right across to number 9, JF Murphy. Better known to his friends as Freddie Murphy, and I think, yes, that ball is over the bar. Freddie has got that point. A lovely score from John Francis, a nice score into the wind, and that will give Boherbue something to worry about, considering that they are starting with the wind. A lot of tension down here from both sides. Pat O'Shea issuing instructions, knows what these big games is all about, has been there, done that, back over the border in Kerry, and has added obviously a great deal to this Boherbue club this year and this Boherbue team. Ball down for Kieran Linehan, breaks it back, picks it up there at midfield, Edmund Walsh. Edmund Walsh out to Tomas Curtin. Tomas Curtin plays it back into Perky Linehan. A lot of nicknames here today. He's lying on the ball, may have been fortunate there, got his free. Gerard Morton is maybe doing a ticking job here. Maybe looking for a signature there. But number 5 has got away with just to take the ball. It's gone way down and it's gone way wide. And it was number 11, Kieran O'Keefe, was going into the channel there looking for that long ball, but the wind took it forward. And of course, in many situations when you have the wind behind you, the ball can beat you to the end line. That happened on that occasion. And if we actually look down to the corner to the scoreboard, we can see the ROCKCHAPEL are up that single point, and we can also see that the wind is very much favouring the team in green and gold in this first half. The pressure will be on them, but one wonders, will Boherbue, very like their manager, will they actually play better into the wind with the low ball, working it in the second half? And of course, no surprise here that James Daly has gone out as a third midfielder. His man has followed him. It would appear that TJ O'Callaghan, in the knowledge that this is going to happen, is playing as a third man, and the ball breaks at midfield, and James does well, breaks it, but TJ O'Callaghan gets it. Trying to walk the quick one, and it's Thomas Mahoney playing at midfield, as we say, out of his main position, down to PJ and Aidan Buckley. For the first time, Aidan Buckley gets there first, comes over to number 5, Conor Hickey, back again to Aidan Buckley, trying to walk the ball, goes down towards the line, got over the line. Paul Murphy, experienced enough to let it go. They'll try and settle the game down now. This game hasn't really settled down at all yet. Martin Casey, about 5 minutes gone. Martin Casey kicking this one shot. 2 men coming. Thomas Mahoney again, trying to thread the ball across. Freddie Murphy, the first man to score in this game. John Francis, get it back to Paul. Paul won't waste any ball here. Look at that for a beautiful pass right across the field. It's gone away over to the corner. It's being walked in, and it's Thomas Mahoney trying to get inside, but he failed to get that one. It was Anthony O'Donnell gave the pass. That's this game instead of the unfortunate Jeffrey Collins. Number 5 comes out. Conor Hickey fouled, according to Gerard Morton. Free to Boherbue, James Daly under it, the third midfielder, and I'd say he's going to give this a bit of air, and indeed he does. He drives it away down, but ROCKCHAPEL have that extra player. TJ O'Callaghan appears to be policing that area, making sure that Roger Casey doesn't get the room. But the play comes to Kieran O'Keefe, picks up the break, has this, and unfortunately Kieran O'Keefe has gone down injured, and I think he's got slight concussion. I think he got a bit of a blow into the head. Maybe not intentional, but certainly it's a free. No bookings in this game yet, and in fact it may be in a clash of heads, because now I see that TJ O'Callaghan is also down. A misfortunate happening early in the game. But if this indeed is a Boherbue free, this will be scoreable. Roger will be thinking about this one. Out on the right hand side, about 30 metres out. Not as easy as it looks, let me tell you. Strong wind here blowing, almost in fact down here towards the corner. Roger will be trying to kick this across. And this is something we noticed in the Junior B game. Any free from this side needs to be worked well across the field to keep it within a chance of scoring. Referee in there talking to the player in question, seeing if he's okay. A few mentors in there as well. Linesman here trying to keep the line free, trying to keep it clear. There won't be much space here today. There's a lot of anxiety from both teams, and that's understandable. Neither of them have been in Duhallow final for some time. Remember, it's the 1980s since either of them won the Duhallow Championship. This championship has been dominated by Kisgame over the last 5 or 6 years. 4 titles, I believe, in the last 5 years, including 2 back-to-backs. And of course, Kisgame won't need reminding that in that time they've lost 3 junior county finals. So whoever wins this game today will feel that it'll be their opportunity to go further in the county championship. And of course, ROCKCHAPEL have already won this junior county championship before. They've lots of experience. Boherbue have not. They have 3 Duhallow titles, the most recent one in 1988. ROCKCHAPEL with 5 titles, the most recent in 86 and 87, as Roger Casey kicks this. And Roger must have been listening to me, because he kicked it very far over, too far over, and it's got in towards Tomas Curtin, who's controlled it. Gerard Morton has given the free. And good housekeeping there by Tomas Curtin. Won it, held on to it, nicely held. Ball down for Roger, and this should be a reasonable tap over. If there's any such thing as a tap over in a game as important as this, I think Roger's going to place this on the ground. A lot of free takers nowadays take them off the hand. But still, a lot of people say that the more traditional, more effective and more consistent free takers are those that kick them on the ground. And Roger is doing exactly that as he comes up to it. And a lovely score from Roger Casey. Tomas Curtin doing all the work. Roger executing. And as all good free takers should, takes the important one, the bread and butter free, over the bar. So a 1 for each side now. John Francis, Freddie Murphy for ROCKCHAPEL, Roger Casey for Boherbue, a 2-man inside line. Very interesting to see how that's going. 6 minutes. minutes gone in the game. John Joe Brosnan has just informed me this game is very tight, but remember, Boherbue have the aid of that wind, and the tricolour on the far side is proof of that also. A huge crowd after coming in here now, and we'll see how this kick-out goes from Tony Collins. Makes the 45, which is as much as he can expect. Dennis Carroll breaks. It comes to Tomas Curtin. It's down to Thomas Mahoney, who takes a quick pass, but Gerard Morton had decided he was already fouled. Paul Murphy in control. Paul, a great man to steady his team down. They look up to him, of course, a great leader on the field, not alone with Rockchapel, but indeed with Duhallow over a number of years. A player of great presence. He drives that very high, but the wind is taking the effect out of it, keeping it short. And I think that ball is cleared, but it's sloppily cleared. It comes back to Thomas Mahoney, and I think that any player has been involved more in the game so far. PJ Murphy in possession now, has lost it. The ball gone down and a free to Kieran Linehan, and well won by Boherbue. The hard graft is something Boherbue are very good at, and that's something that their coach this year has definitely instilled in them. The ability to win those balls on the floor, especially in conditions like this. And remember, this is almost like winter football compared with the top of the ground being so good all along. Difficult to even hop the ball today, I'd say, with great success. Kieran Linehan has this free from the right hand side, deciding what he's going to do. I'd say it's going to be across the field, and indeed it is, and that's a no man's land ball in a dangerous situation. And is he going to get it? And it's just about. That could have been very dangerous. Tony Collins quite safe. Tony, believe it or not, also plays up front and has been known to kick frees, and 45's over the bar playing up front to Rockchapel, but today he's in goals. A very, very versatile footballer, plays literally anywhere from goalkeeper to corner forward. Gerard Morton is kicking Roger Casey, if we call it that. I don't think he's seeking his autograph quite yet, but he has kicked him. And all those things are significant in the modern game, because players are getting sent off more often now for innocuous fouls because of the way the thing is being policed by referees, which is probably no harm. It also prevents an awful lot of cynical fouling. Players can't do that too often, and they'll find themselves on the line. So this free, about almost out to the 45. Paul Murphy seems to be in charge of this also. And as we speak, I think it might be Tomas Curtin is on the ground. The game held up for a moment. It hasn't really settled. This will suit Rockchapel, because remember, they're facing into the teeth of this wind. The crowd as yet haven't really got into the swing of this. Very few scores yet. 1 point all. Paul Murphy to drive this. Who's he looking for? It's all the way up the field. It's Martin Casey's looking for it, but no, it's James Daly, and he's certainly looking very, very lively. This new training regime has certainly suited him. He's got to get far more mobile. He's walking the ball well. I was talking to his uncle there a few days ago, Dinny Long. He was over Knocknagree last Sunday. Dinny will be delighted with James's progress, and everybody's delighted to see James playing so well. A very young player of potential. Aidan Buckley wins that ball. Has got the measure of PJ that time. Kieran Linehan, the quick ball inside. And it looked there like Rockchapel were looking not to be pulled there for holding, but in any event, Boherbue have the ball. Roger Casey is walking down the left. Back onto his stronger right foot. He's laying it off back to Tomas Curtin. They're trying to walk it across. Kieran Linehan, and this is a chance for Kieran Linehan, no doubt about it. Fouled. And really, I suppose that was more of an awkward foul than anything, but Gerard Morton is going to book Colin Murphy here. Colin, of course, younger brother of Paul. Both of them very, very alike. They look quite alike. But I'd say, I don't know if we're going to see a yellow card. It'll be interesting to see what happens here, because we'll have to keep an eye on these things. The referee is looking in his pocket, and indeed we have got a yellow. And this time it's Kieran Linehan has gone down, and Roger Casey is standing over this. It won't bother Roger, I can tell you. He's looking for his score here. He'll be anxious to put the score on the board, anxious to get Boherbue on the way, and they've done quite well, of course, since their last championship match against Newmarket earlier in the summer. They had to wait, somebody said, about 10 weeks. Kanturk probably went into the game last Sunday slight favourites because of the two recent games against Kiskane, but Boherbue were up for the challenge, well-deserving winners last Sunday. Very different conditions today, 5 miles up the road. Roger has this one. It's on the ground. It's dead straight. Can he hit this one? And indeed he does. That's a fine score by Roger Casey. Very well taken. 10 minutes gone. A fine score by Roger Casey. All those frees look easy, but I can tell you they're not. They're anything but. And that's a fine score by Roger. 2 points to 1 now. They have the advantage. Win behind them. 3 men midfield. Looking at it again, it looks like TJ is making runs out. He's now looking to right half back position, trying to pull James Daly away. Number 4, of course, has moved out now as well. Tim Mulcahy is playing at wing back and effectively with 2 inside. This is the way the Rockchapel are dealing with the problem that they have. Lots of teams nowadays into county level actually keep their extra man inside and let the opposition come at them. And when they can't create the space, then there are problems. Dennis Carroll O'Connor on the ball. He's gone inside to the left. He's turning back. Lovely footballer, this guy, when he's on his game. Colin Murphy going for this. It's broken down. It's coming back out to Roger. And it's Kieran Lennon, and he's on the break. And this is a dangerous situation. Roger Casey having it coming right through. And it's a quite good save by Tony Collins. Well stopped. The ROCKCHAPEL faithful from the north of the division. Very happy with that one, I can tell you. Colin Murphy gone down, looking for a free line ball. I don't know. It's going to be a line ball. It is to Boherbue. Very good save from Tony Collins, and I'll tell you, if he can score the 45 at the other end, he can block him at this end too. That was a fine save, because Roger is a dangerous man when he gets through. Has a reputation for getting goals in tight situations, vital goals at vital times, and that could have been a huge fill-up to them if they got it. A lot of stoppages in this game, quite a few short-term injuries, has broken the pattern of play, and we've never really got into any sort of a rhythm in this game yet. But there's a long way to go yet. We have quite a long way to go. It's very, very early days. The team's trying to settle. Remember, that first Duhallow final for both these teams, with very few players of final experience. James Daly has this ball. He's cutting through. He's coming to the right. He's hand passing the ball, fist passing the ball. Did the right thing, I must say. Fisted it wide, and he's got a bit of an injury actually straight away. Unlucky there. Execution was correct. Accuracy not quite on. Certainly did the right thing in not trying to kick it over the bar, because he had no room. Tony Collins with this kick out. And you know, when you consider that back in 1990 ROCKCHAPEL actually competed in the Cork Senior Football Championship. Ironically enough, one of the years that Duhallow won the county championship, ROCKCHAPEL competed for 1 year in the senior championship, dropped down to intermediate grade again for a couple of more years before they came back to junior, as I suppose would be natural with a team of such small resources, rural clubs as they all are here in Duhallow. Tony Collins takes this ball, comes over here to Colin Murphy. Colin Murphy on the break. Haven't seen much of Colin yet. The ball is coming all the way out to Thomas Mahoney. Thomas Mahoney beaten to that one. It's coming down the far side. Is that Michael Dennehy? Over, and there's Dennis Carroll O'Connor. Dennis Carroll O'Connor, and that's a dangerous ball. He's coming right through. It's Kieran O'Keefe. Has lost possession, lost control. Tony Collins has it. Gone down. Referee looking at the umpire. And I think he's calling a 45 on this one. Now that's the second time the Boherbue have cut through. And this time it was Dennis Carroll O'Connor with a very, very good fisted pass inside, very neatly done. James Daly, a bit of concern about him. He seems to be holding his shoulder, and he's trying to shake off that bit of a bang he got a moment ago. Jordan Morton organising this now with Roger Casey. Roger Casey on the 45, wind behind him, and Roger is well capable of putting this over the bar. If he gets it right and he gets it up, he can score it. The tricolour there, in the eye of our camera, directly across. You can see the wind, no question about the wind going down into the river at the back. Roger Casey doesn't get under it, ball breaks, coming back down, but Boherbue have it again, and it's Tomas Curtin, and that's a lovely angle ball by Tomas, and that is a lovely score from Tomas Curtin. A point for Tomas, and that's his second time going down with a bit of an injury. A beautiful score from Tomas Curtin. Might be small in stature, but don't let that fool you as to his effectiveness. That's a very, very good score from Tomas Curtin. Very well taken. Roger Casey the only scorer up to now, but now Tomas Curtin has got one from play to bring them up to 3 points to 1. 15 minutes gone, all to play for, and all of a sudden, from a position where ROCKCHAPEL were attacking the Boherbue citadel from an early stage, it's all Boherbue at the moment. The three-man midfield seems to be working. They have the space inside, and Tony Collins is having difficulty in getting that ball to midfield as it comes back out, down to James Daly again. Who's going to get it? It's Paul Murphy this time. Plays the ball outside, trying to work it. Lucky enough to get away with it, and very lucky that time, but Paul gets that in when Mossy Lee, he breaks inside to him. It doesn't, it's gone too far. Will he pick it up? Dennis Carroll O'Connor has this ball, and Mossy goes in to try and get it back from him. Dennis Carroll will be lucky to get away with this. The ball breaks. And it's anybody's game now. It's ball across the PJ. They're on the ground. Getting very slippery. Mossy Lee with a high ball. And that's gone over the bar from Mossy Lee. Boherbue crowd very unhappy about that. They might have felt that there was a free at one stage. And indeed, I suppose Jordan Morton could have blown it right or left, in or out. But he left the play go. Felt there was an advantage. Left the play go. Mossy Lee got the point. Nice finish from him. And Mossy is a man that mightn't get the ball very often, but I'll tell you something, when he does get it, he's very, very economical in what he does. That's a nice score from him. We haven't seen many kickouts from Kevin Murphy, but they're usually fairly long and very accurate. has, I suppose, what is tremendous nowadays in goalies kick-outs. He has what would be described as a free taker's kick-out, a very accurate kick-out, right or left, as he drives it out the middle and coming out to James Daly. James Daly wins it. Very effective there. Walks it back to Edmund Watts. Back to James O'Connor. Big man, this guy. Another under 21. Over to the side to Conor Hickey. Conor Hickey tries to walk the ball outside. Back out to Kieran Linehan. Probably one of the most experienced, if not the most experienced player on this Boherbue team. And in fact, when I spoke earlier, I said about Dennis Carroll being the oldest man in the team. In fact, now that I think of it, that honour probably goes to Kieran Linehan. Kieran Linehan on the ball again. Gets it. Walks it over. And a high ball inside, and it gets across to Gerard Connell, and Gerard Connell walks in. Played here last year, remember, for Cork Vocational Schools in a tremendous game against Kerry, which went to extra time, in which he was playing for that Cork team. That ball is wide. Gerard Connell, a very young player, only 18 years of age, I understand, and I think it's 19 until the very, very end of the year. But that ball has gone wide. The referee is calling here now. I think there's another bit of an injury. And so far, Gerard Morton has done quite well, I suppose, letting the teams with the advantage and letting the play go on. The problem with advantage in Gaelic football at times, of course, is that sometimes an advantage can turn against you and doesn't become an advantage. And you know, the referee, it's not like rugby. They don't have the opportunity to bring the play back if it doesn't suit the team who got the advantage. And that, I suppose, has happened once or twice. But ROCKCHAPEL have a player down now. And I'm just wondering at the moment who that might be. Would it be Colin Murphy? I'm just looking around to see who actually is gone down. It's certainly not TJ O'Callaghan. And it's Joe Cahill, in fact. Joe, who's another man indeed, who has played half forward for ROCKCHAPEL. And this team appears to be very versatile, because Joe has played a lot of his football at wing forward. Still a man in his early 20s, one of the younger members of this team, operating today from centre back, and has done very well so far. Roger Casey is operating now as centre half forward. And that is somewhat the same as what happened last Sunday against Kantuck, as this kick-out comes, and it's Dennis Carroll and Paul, and that's something that a clash that a lot of people were looking forward to. Paul Murphy has this ball, has the free. Dennis is judged to have fouled him. Paul is now looking for a man. 2 Ulster championships with Cavan in the last 2 years, amazingly enough. And the ball has come down. John Murphy breaks from him, not able to get possession. Walks back to Enda Hearn. Enda Hearn, brother, of course, to the very well-known Lisa Hearn from Boherbue, of Liam O'Connor fame, as we know. James Daly has possession, uses his strength there, drives it forward, walks the ball into Kieran Linehan. Kieran Linehan trying to cut inside, 3 or 4 men on him, walks it away very wisely to Roger Casey. Roger Casey inside, and there's an overlap here. Edmund Watts is trying to get Carroll O'Connor. Can he control the ball? And he's gone down. I don't know if he's going to get a free here. He's gone down again. It's for a second time out, very near the line, very far away from us. Very hard to know what's going to happen. And in the end, Gerard Morton lets it go, and the ball goes harmlessly wide. Boherbue will be very disappointed about that, because remember, the score is 3 points to 2. The benefit of a nice wind for Boherbue, and they have only a 1 point lead. Remember, ROCKCHAPEL got the first score of the game. That was then sandwiched by 3 points from Boherbue in the trot. 2 from Roger Casey from frees, 1 from play then from Tomas Curtin. And finally then, of course, Massey Leahy from play once again got a lovely score for ROCKCHAPEL to keep them in touch. The kick out comes again, and once again it's Paul and Dennis, and Paul wins this one again. And that is very good feeling by Paul Murphy, because he's faced his own goal, wind against him, pressure on him in his own third of the field, had to win possession, did so, showed his leadership as captain, and he controls everything from there. Another lovely ball across to Thomas Mahoney. Loads of space here for Thomas, looking up to see what he's going to do, drives the ball forward. Massey Leahy is trying to walk towards this. Is he going to win it? On a man of smaller stature. But I think there may be a holding offence pulled for there, and Gerard Morton has called for that free. And I think maybe Conor Hickey may have been a judge for holding him by the leg. And Massey, now you see all the cars at the back here, and that whole area at the back covered in cars today, as we know, is a very, very good training area. And there's a training track right around that, and of course when you consider the club here and the work by the Kellys and the local people here like Dan O'Connor, of course, here, the public in town. Billy Lane is on the PA system today, and lots of other people who shall remain nameless have done fantastic work here. Pitch in superb condition, great pitch in winter condition, great pitch in any conditions. This free now from Massey Leahy on the left hand side, and of course the Wiley Warriors they are, they will try and settle this game down, take their time. Referees waving off mentors. Martin Casey will have this free, and Martin will decide what to do, and so far he's had no real opportunity. In fact, this is his first time with a free taking opportunity. John Lane, who played in the first game, now doing linesman, has spoken to the ref, and this free is brought out, and it's John Francis Murphy, first scorer in this game, Operating centre forward. Joe Cahill looking for the fast one. And it's a quick ball, and that's a nicely worked ball by Rockchapel. And it's Mossy Leahy back out to Joe Cahill. And Joe is in very familiar territory there. But this ball's gone high and wide on the far side. That will be no difficulty for Joe Cahill because he hasn't played up front himself. Rockchapel, of course, come here with impressive credentials. Beat Cullen here in the first round in this very pitch by a few points. Then came along the quarter-final and beat Mill Street, who used to be a former power in football in Duhallow, not now at the moment. And then in the semi-final, beat a very fancy Drumtala team over in Kisgame. So they have 3 championship games this year to Boherbue's 2. A long ball coming through. Boherbue, the Examiner Cup champions, of course, looking for the double today. This ball comes across to Mossy Leahy. Mossy Leahy goes down. Connor Hickey. It is a stalemate situation. Ball breaks. James Daly has it now. James Daly tries to walk it down. Comes to Kieran Lennon. Kieran Lennon on the turn. Kieran Lennon keeps the ball in, even though I think he's gone out himself. And the referee's going to give him a free for this one. Linesman here has his difficulties. Ball given up here. And number 8, Edmund Walsh, walks the ball down, trying to find the man, playing it away across the field off his left foot. Paul Murphy following. Dennis Carroll O'Connor on the ball here. Comes back over to Kieran Lennon. Kieran Lennon try to walk it down. Nice ball inside towards Gerald Connell. Will he get there or will it be Colin Murphy? Colin Murphy is very strong on the ball, of course, very like Paul, very physically strong. Good ball there from David Murphy, or from Conor Guiney, I should say. Walks the ball up the wing, and very controlled, methodical play here by Rockchapel into the wind, and that's what you need to do if you want to keep the score down when the wind is against you. Joe Cahill takes it off of Paul, and Paul is orchestrating everything from there. In the hand, very solid player at full back for Boherbue. Walks this one down. Back over to Dennis Carroll. Dennis Carroll with a high central ball, and there's going to be 2-1 situation here. That's what sometimes happens, of course, when you withdraw a man as a third midfielder. Ball walks down towards the middle, and John Murphy, this eager Beaver player, has a junior county, and I think he's going to be pulled by the referee here. Has a junior county medal, has an intermediate county medal. Paul Murphy, of course, has an intermediate county medal as well, but missed in the junior one. But as against that, Paul also has a senior county medal with Duhallow, and has an O'Budden Cup medal, believe it or not, in Ulster with Cavan, and has played in 2 senior championships. But they're possibly the 2 most experienced players Rockchapel have. I don't know what's going to happen here now. Is this going to be thrown up, or is the free going to retain for Rockchapel? Certainly Paul is winding up to have a bit of a sumo wrestling match here with James Daly, and let's see how this ball breaks. Dennis Carroll waiting for the outcome of this. Paul is up, but Paul is down, and Dennis Carroll has the ball. Dennis Carroll walks the low ball down. Who's going to win this? And that's well won by Rockchapel at that end by Colin Murphy. Thomas Mahoney over to Paul Murphy. Paul Murphy walks the ball down all the way down to Indahern. Indahern has possession. Controlling now at this stage, getting on top inside at full back. Dennis Carroll O'Connor at midfield, hanging onto the ball. He's the important link man in this game. Mossy Leahy has robbed Dennis Carroll O'Connor, but Gerald Morton has given the free. And Dennis Carroll will be very relieved to win that, because Rockchapel were breaking with an extra man in that situation. Quick ball to Kieran Lennon. A lot of shot ball, you notice here by Boherbue. Doesn't always suit this type of conditions. Dennis Carroll O'Connor with possession again. Walks it inside into the corner, and it's Colin Murphy who's staying in there. Thomas Mahoney has possession, and he's on the ground. Kieran O'Keefe trying to win the ball there, but it's Rockchapel have it, and the 2 Murphys are taking control. Colin Murphy has possession. Paul now running out. Paul obviously in control of everything. Look at that for a quick ball from, talk about brotherly telepathy, I suppose we'll call it. Paul now in charge of the leisure centre in the Kingsley in Cork. Has been in Castleconnell, of course, in the Slieve Russell, one of the top leisure centre managers in the country and nationwide. John Francis Murphy in on this ball. John Francis Murphy is coming with it. He's cutting in, and he's getting right through, and he's going to win his free. Hands to the heads here by the Boherbue mentors. A lot of frustration. I'd say they felt maybe a slight bit of lack of discipline, and maybe a lack of experience too by the Boherbue defence. Possibly no need to foul John Francis, but he's a wily old warrior, and Martin Casey will be very, very happy for this opportunity. Very few free taking chances for Martin so far, and it's an indication of the strong wind that he didn't take the free earlier, that Rockchapel took the fast one, but he's going to kick this off the hand, and he takes a couple of steps forward, and that one is going to go all the way over the bar. 3 points all, game level, anybody's match. And 26 minutes gone, and John Tarrant here beside me, no better man with the stopwatch. And really this thing could really go down to the wire. There's going to be very little in this thing. Last Sunday, I believe, having been at the Cork County final myself, and I haven't been at the match, that Cantock were in control while the winner was behind them, and Boherbue walked the game back, took control, and indeed in the second half ran out convincing winners in the end. But it's a different story today. They have the win on their level, and at the moment ROCKCHAPEL will be happy with that. But Conor Hickey in possession now, has the play over here. Mossy Lee trying to cut him off, but that's a beautiful through ball, and this is a dangerous ball coming toward, that's Roger, and Roger has won the free, and he's been fouled, and I think this Joe Cahill has fouled him. I think that's actually Joe Cahill, who has been operating at centre back, but each time that Roger goes in, Joe follows him, and of course it's a man-marking situation we have here. Most modern day football now, positions mean very little. You often get a man to man-mark his opponent, and wherever he goes, the other man will go with him. It makes it easier for the team to concentrate on the play if you know who to mark and know where to go, and that's what happened that time. But Roger was out in front, did his main job well, got down, won his ball, was fouled, and this is a free just outside the exclusion semicircle. Scoreable free from about 35 metres. Pat O'Shea inside in the field, I'd say, issuing instructions maybe to Kieran Linehan, having a word with James Daly as well, maybe a couple of wise words. He has been there, of course, and he knows it all with Crooks. He knows what it's all about. He knows how to grind out a result in these difficult type of matches. Often these are the games where there's little classic football played, but the games that really count often are the ones where you see the least good football, and teams have to be excused because of the tension and the anxiety and the close marking in games like this. Roger Gacy facing it up, almost won identically earlier on, and he kicked it straight and through. He was absolutely spot on with it. This one not so good, but the ball is breaking inside, and it cuts out, and ROCKCHAPEL will break with this. Those balls are vital. All those opportunities for each team are vital. Anthony O'Donnell coming out has seen very little possession over the far side, and a big crowd right across the field looking for this one. The ball breaks, and it breaks out there, and it's Enda Hearn has possession, has it well over John Murphy at the moment, I must say, and a free given to Enda Hearn. A bit of a schmozzle there again. Boherbue getting anxious here on the line, 3 points all. They'll feel a little bit frustrated, I suppose, really, because of that last couple of chances they got that they didn't score. Notice, if you look down to the right, how Paul Murphy is staying behind his defence almost as a sweeper, and covering his line until half time, I'd say, knowing that the ball is going to come into that space. And let's see, will the ball come in that space? Will it be passed in? James Daly has it. James Daly walks it outside and on the overlap, and it's that man there, Kieran O'Connell. Back to James Daly. James Daly in possession, and a great shoulder charge, and it's Conor Hickey again inside. Ball breaks inside, and it's Roger Casey with a high ball, and Roger Casey with a super score from play. That's a lovely score. ROCKCHAPEL Mentors running in there. Mossy Lee having a few words spoken to him. And now with Boherbue with a 1 point lead. Selectors for ROCKCHAPEL today, of course, Joe Collins, hugely experienced goalie, believe it or not, has a junior, intermediate and senior county medals, all of those. Tom Carroll, manager of the team, and Jerry O'Mahony. Jerry actually went in there, one of the famous O'Mahony clans for ROCKCHAPEL. He was the man who went in to have a word with Mossy Lee just a while ago. Charles Anketel and John Linehan, the men behind this success, and Pat O'Shea, their coach. And the ball down the ground, and it's won there by John Francis. John Francis on his left foot. Nice high ball coming across, and who's going to win this one? Ball breaks inside. This is a dangerous situation. Martin Casey has the ball. Can he hold possession? He's turning. He's a man still on him, but it's beautifully walked over. The ROCKCHAPEL forwards appear to be very, very economic in possession. Not giving it away, holding possession, walking it back again to Thomas Mahoney. Thomas Mahoney, 40 yards out, walks it across to Martin Casey. Martin Casey across to PJ Murphy. PJ Murphy, a super game in the semi-final against Drumtariff. Back out again to John Francis. John Francis, a high ball. Kevin Murphy inside. Oh, dangerous ball. And I can tell you, the sweat was rising here on the Boherbue bench when that ball came in. But then, of course, they have one of the finest goalies, not alone in the county, but in the country, covering that one. And I'm sure if we have a word with Kevin after the game, Kevin will tell us that he had that ball fully covered. There was never any danger if it went inside the corner of that post rather than outside. But certainly a dangerous situation, a situation where a goal could easily have come, and that would have really knocked the stuffing out of Boherbue coming up to half-time, and that had gone in. But they have what is probably a deserved lead. Paul Murphy, an outstanding catch from him, but broken down. Play allowed, go on. Number 4 in possession, Tim Mulcahy. Ball gone to ground. Getting a bit sloppy here now. And really, mentors, I suppose, should really be kept off the field, and it's not wise, I suppose, on either side. It would be better if the mentors were kept away from the play, albeit they're getting very excited, very concerned. let the players get on with the job. A lot of stop-starting in this game, and I think we may have another throw ball here. The last time Paul won the throw, but it broke back to Dennis Carroll. I wonder if that's going to happen again. Dennis Carroll is very nicely positioned again. Is Paul going to be able to horse his way into this one? James Daly and Paul, and it's like the tripartite thoughts here at the moment with Jordan Morton trying to get this ball up. It's broken down. It's once again Dennis Carroll. That's a great sign of the midfielder. That's his second time positioning himself very well for that ball. Breaks down to Jordan Connell and broken down, and it's that man Colin Murphy all the way up to Mossy, and Mossy's down it. Touched that in the ground, I think. But also, I don't know what the referee's going to do here. Ball on the ground. An awful lot of this type of ball today. An awful lot of ball breaking. An awful lot of low ball.
Yeah, we're playing into the first half. Boherbue 4, Rockchapel 3.
Very close game. As John Tarrant has a word with the commentary team at County Sound inside in Parky Creeve to give the score coming up to half time. Of course, County Sound will be keeping an eye on all games around the county, junior football finals everywhere. I was travelling this morning and I saw St. Colum's flag. St. Colum's are playing in the Westcock final today in Bantry against Island Rovers, and of course they will be the perennial favourites for the Cork County Championship every year. The winners of this game possibly playing against East Cork, Carrick-Tuathal. I believe maybe the team after coming out of there, and they're a good side. But certainly neither team are concerned about that here at the moment. That's the least of their worries. The long-awaited Duhallow Championship, a Duhallow Championship medal so coveted by these players. This is what it's all about. And this thing is really looks like it's going to go down to the wire. There's only a point in it. Win behind Boherbue. Roger operating between full and centre. And constantly Colin Murphy has to watch behind him. He wants eyes in the back of his head for Roger, because Roger is walking in behind him. And he has to keep an eye on him, because he'd be quick as a flash if the ball came in quickly. Mossy Leahy walking away. No serious injury in this game yet, but a lot of shoulder injuries, a lot of, I suppose what you could say, accidental clashes and that. Nothing very serious. Kieran O'Keefe has the ball now, trying to cut inside, trying to make room for himself, trying to walk it across. It's back to Perky, Kieran Linehan, and that's a nice point by Kieran. Is it a nice point? It's not. It's drifted wide. And I think this one is going to go to the river. There's two young fellas over there across. In fact, it's going right across to the field on the other side. This pitch superbly prepared here by the ground staff today. And over on the far side, another fantastic thing about this ground, of course, is that we have a concrete pad right around it. Something more accustomed to rugby grounds. When you go around rugby grounds around the country at club level, and you know it's a small thing, but in these weather conditions it's so much appreciated by the spectating public to be able to walk around with clean shoes all the way around the pitch on this concrete pad. And people taking their vantage points even down here on the right, a fine crowd down here by the line, with the river right behind them and the county of Kerry just behind us. Paul Murphy wins that one, and he's having a huge influence on this game, even if Dennis Carroll is having a great influence for the other side, and indeed Thomas Mahoney and Edmund Walsh also doing their part. Freddie Murphy, one feels that ROCKCHAPEL are just hanging in there at the moment, and that they could open up at any time in the second half with a win behind them, but no one knows. Boherbue could play much better into the wind. With the low ball, there's no better team than walking the ball short and walking the ball quick. John Murphy with this ball, the holder of junior and intermediate county championship medals within 2 years in 87 and 89. Who would have thought that in 2001 he'd still be here with the advent of the Euro, and he's only 6 weeks away, and John Murphy is still playing top-class club football, working inside, having to work off of scraps really against the wind a lot of the time on Enda Hearn in the first half. Enda, of course, physically stronger, the younger player. John Francis Murphy with this one on the ground. He'll be very happy to get this in the middle, asking a lot for him to put it over the bar from here. And a good ball in the centre, a high ball in a dangerous situation. PJ Murphy, and that's a lovely score by PJ. A very good score by PJ. And PJ is another player who's been around for a while. Mossy is now actually walking inside, and it'll be interesting to see is Mossy operating the corner at full. Two very tall men inside there, and one wonders if the ball comes high in the second half, will that cause problems for Boherbue? As the referee blows his whistle, and it couldn't have been tighter, and it's back as you were. It's 4 points all at half time. A very good contest, not the most classic of games, but you have to say that wholehearted effort is not missing on either side. Both teams very keen, both teams very anxious, and both teams very, very committed to this cause. Remember, when you get to a Duhallow final, young team or not, you can't expect that you're going to come back next year and win it, and Boherbue will know that from the past, that having a young side is not necessarily a guarantee to future success. You have to take your opportunity when it comes your way, and we'll leave you for the moment as Boherbue go in, ROCKCHAPEL stay here, half-time score, 4 points all, and we'll see you for the second half.
I think they should pull it.
You always know how the junior fellow comes into the team like he's disputing everything with the referee. You know.
You see, you have this kind of automatic attitude of we'll argue every decision on the basis we might get about 20% of the argument, you know, and if we don't, we're not doing our job because we might. I don't know. Where is she?
Yeah, Rory, welcome to a packed and bright side as we close to the Kerry County Road of this unique Duhallow Junior Football Chapter final. And on a first time meeting between the decider, it's a deadlock situation at the interval and a scoreline of Boherbue 4 points, ROCKCHAPEL'S 4 points. Then against the end in the opening half, ROCKCHAPEL'S second into a confident rhythm.
ROCKCHAPEL, you would say, have you been now, wouldn't you? You never know, like. Obviously, by what we see, but Tony Collins is very clearly of the glory of apology. Or we continue to say that the point football and the say, I think they have James Daly and Jerry and of course, another point below. Boherbue lead 3.21 at the close of the opening quarter. And Carroll remains steadfast. The party is sticking a lead point. It's 4% cancer. Clone Road again. Two both days in Clone Road. Brinny, yeah. That's a new pitch, isn't it? And what's that like?
Score of the first half. Roger got 2 frees, right? And 1 2 break to come off the goal, yeah?
Roger got 3 points.
The first 2 complete.
It was 1 4, he did. Thomas Cotton had to score, he got a free. Yeah, and Roger got 3, but 1 from play. Correct. And John Francis got 1 from play. So did Martin Collins get the free?
Martin Casey.
Yeah, that's Martin Casey.
Yeah, obviously must be 17 for Boherbue. Yeah. High kicky. Are we ready? And welcome back here to Boherbue for the second half, or to, I should say, to Ballydesmond for the second half. The Boherbue team has just come on. ROCKCHAPEL stayed on the field. Superstition often with these things. Boherbue have gone in. I believe there's a sub on for Boherbue. If I'm correct, it's Tyke Hickey. Don't know who's come off yet. We'll look at that later on, but we'll get straight into the play. And it's PJ Murphy coming for that one. Ball breaks, and who is it? Only Paul Murphy. And a beautiful ball from Paul and a late tackle. And James Daly does apologise to Paul for that, but nowadays we don't see as many of those late tackles because they're very, very expensive. When the ball goes forward and you're challenged late, it can cost you an awful lot of yardage. As they say in the American game, Martin Casey a free before half-time, saw very little action, but he'll able to put the foot in the trigger here, and there's a high one coming in from Morton, and that's a very high ball coming right across, and it's drifted wide. All those are so vital, those balls. A big cheer coming up from a crowd, and I'm sure that's a cheer of relief from the Boherbue contingent. And indeed, yes, Tyke Hickey is on the team from Boherbue, another one of their young players. They have a very, very young line-up in their team. The average age of this team, I don't know what it is, but it must be quite young. James Daly coming up here for this ball, wins it well at midfield. Paul Murphy appears to be picking him up now, walking across the side, but he's lost that one. John Murphy breaking. James gets it back and he loses it again, and this is a bad situation. And Boherbue fortunate enough there now, got caught in possession over carrying the ball. Number 2, Aidan Buckley tries to burrow his way out, and it plays away from us. PJ Murphy brings his man to ground. Referee, and we almost have a scrum or rolling maul situation here. One wonders what's going to happen next. A lot of players jostling and falling, and really at the end of the day it isn't much ado about nothing. Most of it is just jostling and pulling and pushing one another. Nothing very serious really, but the referee has gone down now to take over, and there was a lot of scrappy play there. James Daly got initially dispossessed by John Murphy. He in turn fell over the ball, wasn't able to hold possession. tried to give it, I think then, in fairness to him, tried to give it off to PJ Murphy, who in turn spilt the ball. But now it's very easy for us up here, because it's very, very difficult to control a ball in a day like this. Tomas Curtin has gone off, and I can tell you one thing, I doubt very much that that's because of Tomas's performance. I'd say the injuries he got in the first half, he paid dearly for them, and he certainly is a loss to Boherbue. Ty Hickey on now. We'll see what he can do in the second half. In many ways, one wonders, will Boherbue be more dangerous in the second half with the wind against them? Play a lovely brand of football, so they have tight discipline control. The referee is calling down PJ and Dennis Carroll O'Connor, and you know, one wonders in situations like this how referees can identify anybody, because there was a whole plethora of bodies inside the middle of all that, and often wonders if it's just for the record the referee pulls two aside, but he has these two, he's talking to them at the moment. These yellow cards can be very, very expensive, because remember, if you get caught for a silly second offence, as we've seen in the inter-county scene, that can be you gone for the day, and the biggest game of the year can pass you by very fast. Jordan Morton has issued 2 more yellow cards. Those players will now have to be careful, and he's taking this ball up and throwing it in, and I wonder if Dennis Carroll going to win this one too, but the ball goes right behind Paul Murphy. James Daly anticipated where the ref was throwing it, got his free, a vital one for him. 4 minutes gone and making the second half. Kevin Murphy coming out for this. Beautiful ball player, Kevin Murphy, still a minor, believe it or not. Hard to believe that he was goalkeeper in last year's Cork Minor Team in Ireland, and was both minor and under 21 keeper this year. Tremendous footballer. Will be playing later on with Duhallow under 21s in the Invitation Cup, and a very experienced player at that level, of course. John Murphy now has the ball. He's walking down the side, and he plays this ball across into Kevin. Kevin holds onto the ball. You're not going to beat Kevin that easily, I can tell you. The ball comes back out to Ty Hickey. Ty Hickey working it, and now are we going to see all this shot linking passing that is such a trademark of Crokes football in Killarney? James Daly coming with the ball, walking it up the side, playing well, James, showing a bit of power and a bit of aggression, and he gets his free in that occasion. Ball going back. Certainly used himself in that occasion. Thomas Mahoney indicating to Paul Murphy. Ball goes back. Dennis Carroll O'Connor with this free, driving it forward very, very high. Dangerous situation. Colin Murphy trying to cut it off. Will he do that? And I can tell you he needed to do that. Got it over. That's good housekeeping from him. Works it up to Paul Murphy. Paul Murphy cuts across. Beautiful ball play by Paul Murphy. Look at that for the beautiful ball inside. Walking it across. But cut off at Boherbue. Very well done. And Boherbue at the start of the second half appear to be getting the job in hand. The corner back tidied up very well there for Boherbue. Kieran O'Connell walking it back up. And Boherbue have it. Edmund Watch. Kieran Linehan. Perky Linehan. Possibly, I wouldn't be sure about it, but I think Kieran may have a Duhallow medal already from 1988. Only a minor at that stage, was playing with the county at that stage, maybe the only medalist in this team. James Daly working forward, would be better off to get rid of it now at this stage. Walks it inside, centre half forward, Kieran O'Keefe, who hasn't had much opportunity to show his undoubted talent here today. Cutting right across, the wing back on him, ball back out to Dennis Carroll. Dennis Carroll cutting inside, and there's a chance for Ty Hickey. Ty Hickey cut off, and there are maroon bodies everywhere. Paul Murphy, who else but the aforementioned Paul, walks it out. Thomas Mahoney coming with it now. And Thomas working his way down, keeping his head, deciding for the shot pass out to John Murphy. John Murphy being held off and well shepherded by Kieran O'Connell, walking the ball inside. And Mossy is up, and Mossy has it, and Mossy holds it. As good as any second row forward in the International Rugby Championship. A quick free across, and Anthony O'Donnell. Possibly only the second or maybe the third ball he's got in the whole hour. Or I should say in the whole 35 minutes. And a beautiful point by Anthony O'Donnell. They're very easy to kick in practice. They're very easy to kick when you're a sub at half time, but I can tell you they're not so easy wherein you're in the red hot atmosphere of a Duhallow final where everything is at stake. Gives ROCKCHAPEL that much needed lead, that vital lead, that 1 point lead. And who's to say, if we had the bookies here, that we wouldn't be looking at a draw in this game? Anything is possible. There's nothing much between these teams. John Francis Murphy walks his way through. Boherbue Examiner Cup champions looking for the double today. John Murphy walking inside. Kevin Murphy, the two men from the Murphy clan. Kevin takes a quick ball across, and very few have played more ball today than Conor Hickey. Walks it away out the wing, and this is what I was talking about early in the game. This was my suspicion, that Boherbue would work the play in the channels much better into the wind. A good ball inside. Back to Joe Cahill. Joe Cahill wins possession. Good bread and butter work from him. Walks it across to Conor Guiney. Conor Guiney has possession. And Conor Guiney is holding his hand to his head, but I think his opponent, Joe O'Connell, also felt some bit of an impact there. Charles Anketel gone out to the field. Mentors inside on both sides. Tom Carroll having words of instruction for John Francis, I think it is. No, it's not. It's for Conor Guiney. This free to Boherbue. A lot of anxiety here on the line. Big crowd on all sides of the field, and even though the main crowd will be on the far side, a lot of people right down here along the concrete path that we mentioned, down by the Blackwater River, barely inside the county of Cork, needless to say. And certainly this pitch is a credit to Ballydesmond Club here today, and not before it's time that they've got to do a Duhallow final. They've hosted some very important games here in the fall year of the last few years. Kieran Linehan has this ball, walking it across. And that play from Thomas Manny in the Rockchapel roar, I suppose we'll call it, well known in the past. Fantastic supporters of their team. Mossy Lee now has it, the ball breaks. And I think Mossy is after being penalised for holding the ball between his legs, and of course that's a well-known little tactic in Gaelic football when you're on the ground. Referee brings it on 10 yards for descent, and I can tell you that's an expensive thing to be doing in any game, but it's certainly in a Duhallow final and a championship final. Ball comes into Roger, Roger has it, Roger is turning, Roger is dangerous, Roger is falling, and Roger wins his free. No better man. And Roger, of course, is another man that has played senior championship with Duhallow this year, made his debut at full forward, played in 2 championship games, will probably lead the Duhallow attack in the Under-21 Invitation Cup very shortly up at full forward also. Kevin Murphy one end, Roger at the other end. Very experienced player already. Hard to believe that he's only 20 years of age, but the heart is in the right place, and I tell you, he's made a solid oak, this man. And it's a lovely free from Roger, beautifully floated. And he puts the fist up into the air and he drives his team forward. And for a player of such youth, he's leading by example. Colin Murphy will have his hands full here in the second half. I believe the wind is not as strong indeed as it was in the first half. Tony Collins now lining this up. Pat O'Shea's instructions, they're doing some switching. I think he's instructing Kieran O'Keefe in relation to his positioning for that kick out. Tony Collins drives it forward. Now it's John Francis. Boherbue driving forward, James O'Connor, and very well won by James. And Boherbue are getting the bit between their teeth now, and one wonders. This happened in the Examiner Cup final in a huge crowd over in Kanturk. It was in the last moments that Boherbue got the goal to win the game. It was in the last quarter they beat Kanturk. One wonders, will it be in the last quarter when they win a historic junior football double here in Duhallow this year? Kieran Linehan on the ball, but the Doughty Warriors of Rockchapel will have something to say about that. And a high ball coming in for Kieran from Gerald Connell, but a drop shot. Tony Collins, what Kevin Murphy can do at one end, he can do it from the other end. Well, very well done. Paul Murphy always at the end of the link, and Paul Murphy coming forward, and a great man to drive a knackered ball forward, and look at that for a nice ball forward. Going to go a bit further than he intended. John Francis has it. John Francis turns. John Francis back again to Tim Mulcahy. Tim Mulcahy in possession. Tim Mulcahy driving the ball forward. PJ links up, a lovely ball back to Matt and Casey, and now they're working it well. And what are they going to do here? Mossy Lee turning, and Mossy Lee on that lazy left foot, and that ball is over the bar from Mossy Lee. And is that one of the scores of the game? Certainly when looks at Tomas Curtin's left-footed chance in the first half, one looks at Roger Casey's fine point in the first half, that was right up there with them. A fine lazy style by Mossy Lee, but don't let that belie the fact that he's very, very accurate when he gets into position. Paul Murphy up there again, and he's the heart and soul of this team. No surprise, no need to ask why he's captain of this side. That's very easy to see. His experience is one thing, his strength is one thing, but his leadership qualities are huge. And this game seems to go one way and then goes the other. Jordan Morton gives this free to Rockchapel. Just as soon as Boherbue seem to get on top, back up we go, and just as soon as we think Boherbue are going to take the initiative, instead it's Rockchapel get on top. And Rockchapel now have the free. 11 minutes gone the second half, a long way to go here yet. Ball breaks inside, and PJ is very good at those tap-ons. But this ball goes wide, and a relieved cheer there, I suppose, from the Boherbue public. I suppose it would be fair to say the long-suffering Boherbue spectators haven't had an awful lot to cheer about, but I can tell you, with the arrival of a new management team and a new coach this year. They're a completely different team, a young team that have arrived and are here to stay for some time, I imagine, regardless of the result of this game. John Murphy now has the ball. A lovely pass across. Anthony O'Donnell seen to be held. The referee allows him play on, and don't tell me he's going to do it again. And this man is inspired. Who'd have said it? One of the least known players on this ground today, Kevin Murphy, with a quick kick out. And that's a player who knows what he's doing. Like I said, a free taker's kick out. Knew in the moment was nigh. ROCKCHAPEL getting in top, the quick kick out. Kieran O'Keefe now in possession, bursting his way forward. Joe Carroll shutting the whole way. They're going to look for an important score here now. But that's a vital interception by Joe. And Joe's down the ball, wins the ball there, gets it back to PJ to Conor Guiney. Conor Guiney back out to Paul Murphy. Ref allows, play goes on, a lot of casualties all over the field. Ball all the way down. John Murphy in possession. ROCKCHAPEL won wonders. Are they going to get on top here? The high ball inside, not at all. Inda Hearn is down on top of it. PJ gets to the Mossy. Mossy is cutting in. Mossy is going right in. Is he going to get it over the bar? And he goes down. And the referee has given a penalty, much to the anguish and disbelief of the Boherbue supporters. Cut right inside. Some situations like that, you could have been pulled for over-carrying, but he did play the ball the whole way, remember? And the credit for that attack must certainly go to PJ, because initially we thought that Inda Hearn had the ball won and controlled, but instead it broke, and he channeled the ball like a good scrum half does out to his out half, and Mossy, he got it inside, cut cheekily in the whole way in. But the interesting thing here now is they have a 2-point lead, 7 points to 5, 13 minutes gone in the second half. Are we going to see daylight between these teams for the very first time? And who's going to take this penalty? The referee has a long process here, trying to talk to various players. He's trying to catch up with previous incidents. He's now booking Edmund Walsh. And at one stage there, we had 2 or 3 players lying on the ground as ROCKCHAPEL attack with that ball. Certainly it looks like a card, indeed it is. And we'll have to keep an eye on all those cards. One wonders now. The Cork Minor, Cork Under-21 Championship goalkeeper facing. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be John Murphy? Is it going to be PJ Murphy? No, it's going to be John Murphy. County Junior medalist, County Intermediate Championship medalist, a wealth of experience for this player. Not going to be fazed by a big occasion, not going to be fazed by a critical moment like this. Is this going to be the critical moment of the 2001 Duhallow Football final? Anybody knows the referee shoved it everyone away, but this is a good goalkeeper, and this goalie will block this ball unless it's very well struck. John Murphy drives it, and what a save! What a save by Kevin Murphy. A low ground shot to his left. No less than what you would expect. A superb save from Kevin Murphy. No disrespect to John Murphy, his namesake, but a fine save from Kevin. And let me tell you, that's no accident. He's a tremendous goalie to get on the low ball. Beautifully taken by John Francis. One wonders, would it have been better to take that point? It's easy to say that now, I suppose. A high ball coming in for John Francis. And the ball is inside, and it's gone wide. Kevin Murphy puts this ball down. A quarter of an hour left in this game. Fat is in the fire now. The crowd are getting excited. Would you believe we have sunshine in Ballydesmond? We have sunshine in Ballydesmond. We have the crowd anticipating a huge finish to this game. A great kick out by Kevin Murphy into the wind. And there is leadership for you. If Paul can do it at one end, Kevin can do it at the other end. Dennis Carroll O'Connor trying to take control over there. And a lot of arguments here about this line ball. Of course, every one of these decisions now is going to be vital. Boherbue have this line ball. I recall a very important line ball in Boherbue a few years ago in 98 between Kanturk and Newmarket in the Duhallow semi-final, believe it or not. Had the winning again for Newmarket. And what happened after when Newmarket won the County Junior Championship? So you often wonder, are games won and lost, and one decision often mightn't even be a referee's decision, could be an umpire's decision, could be a linesman's decision. Paul Murphy with a low, long, through ball. ROCKCHAPEL playing copybook football at times here. Ball across to Martin Casey, gets it over to John Francis. John Francis tries to walk it across, and they're really exploiting it now. John Murphy's going to make up for that last offence, and it's a fine kick by John, but off his weaker left foot has driven it wide. And he's being watched like a leech by Kieran O'Connell. The skin here, Kieran O'Connell, and of course we have a lot of that nowadays. That is the fashion in the modern day. Enda Hearn marking PG inside, John Murphy and Kieran O'Connell. And the other corner man now appears to be Martin Casey walking the corner, and Paul Murphy gets up there and wins his free. And on that occasion, James Daly adjudged to have pulled Paul. Great leadership being shown by Paul here. Thomas Mahoney is deciding what he's going to do. Is he going to use the wind? Is he going to bomb it in? Or is he going to drop his shot? It's anybody's guess, but there's two big men in there now. Mossy Leahy's gone inside. PJ's inside. A twin-pronged attack. And Thomas Mahoney's walking across. Martin Casey over to T.J. O'Callaghan. T.J. O'Callaghan across to John Murphy. John Murphy trying to turn. Back over to Anthony O'Donnell. Anthony O'Donnell, don't tell me he's going to get a third one. Walks it back out and back over to T.J. And T.J. a lovely ball across. And a fantastic point. A fantastic point by the youngest player on the Rockchapel team, T.J. O'Callaghan. Nephew to the great Jesse. Son, I believe, to Dennis. Nephew also to Tom O'Callaghan. Tom and Jesse, of course, have won many a medal with Rockchapel at all levels. And it certainly isn't off the grass that TJ licked his football. That's 8 points to 5. Kevin Murphy with this kick out. And indeed, Boherbue can thank Kevin for keeping them in the game in the way that he has. Still remember, there's nothing in this game. There's only the one score between them. Boherbue have a lot of running in them yet. Boherbue are trained for 65 minutes, not for 45, remember. And this ball breaks here. Rockchapel coming to it. Enda Hearn wins it. PJ beaten on that occasion. Enda Hearn driving forward. Conor Hickey, who's played more ball than that man, and if Boherbue do win this game, certainly he'll get plaudits for the amount of ball he's played. And a player on the ground again. And certainly now both teams are almost on their feet. About 10 minutes to go, and there's another vital substitution. Alan Lynch appears to be coming on. And if he is, the referee hasn't seen him. The modern game, of course, we often see 5 subs being used now. They say the squad game is the thing. And Boherbue are using a sub. Alan Lynch has come in. And Boherbue made a second change. And number 2, Ian Buckley, who has tried his hat out. And it certainly hasn't done an awful lot wrong. But they have made a change now, brought in a fresh pair of legs. Ian Buckley is gone. Alan Lynch is in. We'll see in a moment whether it's a direct swap for position or not. At this stage, a lot of players have moved, a lot of positional switches. We'll keep an eye on them as this play is broken down. And again, it's Mossy Leahy. And Mossy Leahy and PJ are very good at these tap-on balls. I suppose if there were hurlers, we'd call them doubling with the hurley. But they're certainly well able to do it. Mossy Leahy, a graceful man with the ball, never gets excited. Lovely ball across to Paul. Paul is deciding what he's going to do next. Gets to the cross out to, on a very late challenge there on David Murphy, and that is a heavy challenge. And the Boherbue player has gone down also. And I suppose as challenges go today, that's probably one of the heaviest that has been shipped today. But the men of Rockchapel are well used to them, and it takes something better than that to knock them out. And where Rockchapel come from, I'll tell you, they breed them hard and they breed them tough. And it isn't easy to knock any one of these guys out of a game. 2 players down injured now. One of their younger players, David Murphy, down. And Joe Collins is in directing operations. They've been in this position before. They're 3 points up. They have the wind behind them. They have just less than a quarter of this game to go. And that man hops up again, David Murphy. No bother to him. Joe, as he is known to his friends. He has the notebook in hand. And I suppose he's keeping the statistics for later on. Who knows? As this free is being given to Martin Collins. Or I should say Martin Casey. Martin Casey a long way out, but remember, wind assisted, dead straight in front of the goal. On a straight line, and if we were on computer graphics here now, we'd be told exactly how many metres we had to play with this. Another yellow card got out, and certainly Gerald Morton's notebook is getting very full. There's an awful lot of autographs inside it now. Paul Murphy, quick free to Paul. What's Paul going to do? Is he going to lump this one up in the air? It's a high ball. Paul not known for to be the most accurate in the world. Ball wide. Kevin Murphy with the kick out. And of course, the longer a game like this goes on with Boherbue involved, and the tighter that it is, one wonders, are Boherbue capable of striking at the finish? And a fine sun coming out here, great conditions here, the ball breaks and Paul Murphy's on it again. and certainly he's mastering the air now. He's getting on top. TJ Callahan got a great point there a while ago into John Murphy, and the ball into the channel. The idea was good, got away from him at the last moment. Would have been a lovely score if he could have got it. Effectively now in the Hearn, he's on PJ Murphy, but a lot of the time John is actually playing in front of the full forward and making life very difficult for Kieran Connell, but he's sticking to his task. This ball breaks at midfield again. And it is that man Alan Lynch, I think, after getting down to that one, back to the other substitute, Ty Hickey, and they win the free. And it's being driven forward, and it's all the way to Paul Murphy, but Paul has possession. Can he hold on to it? He can. Colin Murphy with this ball. And it's back up to Mossy Leahy. And at times Rockchapel appear to have 2 and 3 men over. And one wonders, are they going to hold out here? Conor Guiney now coming forward. Positions mean nothing in the modern game. And John Francis Murphy with a great high ball. And Freddie, as he's known, will be disappointed with that. That ball tailed off wide. And the amazing thing that John Joe Brosnan, my statistician, tells me here is that Rockchapel have had 7 wides. That could be very expensive yet. And believe it or not, Boherbue appear to have got no wide in the second half. But Boherbue will be very concerned about the lack of winning possession, whatever about territory. They do have this one now from Ty Hickey. And Ty goes down, and that is a vital one. And one wonders, are Rockchapel getting the bit between their teeth here? It's a dangerous thing to say in these games. Anything can happen. James O'Connor has possession, breaking forward again. And going back out to Conor Hickey. Conor Hickey drives it forward, but it's all the way to no less a man than Paul. Will Paul get to it? Paul Murphy down. He won't get it. This time it's Dennis Carroll. Dennis Carroll coming forward. Dennis Carroll on the ball, and a quick ball it is. But it's coming to Joe Carroll, and it's Paul this time. No less a man than Paul Murphy to link up, and a quick pass, and back out here again to David Murphy. David Murphy after recovering from that. TJ O'Callaghan holding possession. Being pulled again, and back in again. And back across again to John Murphy. And the ball goes to ground, and the player goes to ground, and John Murphy, I think, is going to be spoken to by the ref for pulling on the ball, but I think Kieran Connell had control, and obviously you can't do that. I don't know if it's a bookable offence or not, but every one of these balls is vital now. We have less than 5 minutes to go, I imagine. Just 5 minutes to go, I'm told. John Tam anxiously looking at his stopwatch, wondering, are we going to have a draw? Wondering, will we have another payday? Certainly the Duhallow board would never say no to a replay if it happened, but I suppose in the modern game now, where referees have to account for their extra time, anything could happen, of course. There's only the one's going in. Remember, don't forget that. There's nothing between these teams. This ball's gone in high, and it's PJ has it, and PJ's cutting through, but it's beautifully shepherded out by Boherbue, and they're breaking forward again. And that's James O'Connor. James O'Connor out the wing, and it was Conor Hickey that initially started that defence from there, and he's back out, and who's there? Only himself to collect. Beautifully taken. He's gone down injured now, but he's worked very hard for that. And Joe Cahill, as this game has worn on, has become a dominant influence of this game, a very important influence, and the main reason I think that the ball isn't getting into Roger Casey. And of course Boherbue need to get the ball into Roger if they have to win this game or get back to parity. All Roger needs is 1-1-1 on Colm. And I'd say Colm Murphy would be just as happy if that didn't happen. He'd be quite happy to mind him for the rest of the game without having to worry about playing him on a 1-to-1. James Daly, could it happen now? James Daly going forward. And if there was an offside line at this stage, Roger Casey would be skirting it. And the ball goes forward and a free to TJ O'Callaghan. As the ball breaks down there, TJ wins it. And one feels, you know, that whole half-back line of David Murphy, Joe Callan and TJ O'Callaghan have a big say in this game at this stage. Roger is inside, skirting across that line, hoping to get a ball, but it's being cut off by the Rockchapel, tenacious Rockchapel half-back line. But at the other end, they're not able to finish it, they're not able to win the scores. That could put daylight and 2 scores in the team. John Murphy might change that now though. He's cut inside, and John now must be at the wrong end of the 30s, and he'll be looking for his medal here today. And there is a lovely, I was going to say there's a score, but it's actually a 45. John Murphy, I imagine, would become the most decorated Rockchapel player, certainly from a Duhallow medal point of view if they win today. Probably wouldn't like to tell me what age he is now. He'd probably like to keep that a secret at this stage, but he's still playing like a 20-year-old, a vital player to them up front. And it's Freddie Murphy once again, on the 45, straight in front of the goals. And Freddie will know, and no one has to tell him, that extra 4th point that is so sought after, that critical psychological score that everybody craves for when a game is tight. Can they go 4 points in front? Can he get this up in the air? Or is it going to be cleared by a tenacious Boherbue defence again? And suddenly the referee will be losing his patience very soon. Freddie Murphy, the crowd, a massive crowd on the far side. I'd say we have to have 3,000 or 4,000 people here, a high ball and another one tailing to the left. And one wonders, our ROCKCHAPEL tempting fate here, unable to drive home that advantage, and undoubted has been that advantage in the second half, with Joe Carroll at centre back, Paul Murphy at centre field, and John Murphy up front there with PJ, and Mossy Leahy able to win those balls, and another high one coming in, and another wide ball.
9 wides.
9 wides in the second half, I'm now told, for ROCKCHAPEL. And one wonders, could they be hit with a sucker blow? Could they yet be hit with a sucker blow by Roger Casey and company up front? No better men to do it, but Kevin Murphy will be getting concerned that that ball is going out and coming straight back in again. And that man, Ty Kiki, and his substitute colleague Alan Lynch are certainly working like beavers. They've now won that, but it's come back to ROCKCHAPEL. They've won it again, and it's down again, and it breaks again, and the ball is spilling right and left, and it comes over now to Boherbue here, and they have possession in the hurn now, gone forward, being told to go forward, being told to carry forward, being told to carry the ball and work it in. And James Daly is trying to work it now. What's he going to do? Trying to wind around this ball. What's going to happen? Gerard Connell to James Daly. James Daly through. James Daly outside. And the ball breaks. And what's going to happen here? The referee doesn't say anything. Boherbue meant us claiming the ball was touched on the ground. I wouldn't like to say, I'm too far away from it. I certainly wouldn't know. The ball gone right down. John Murphy tries to win it. It's anybody's game now. James O'Connor driving forward once again. Martin Casey trying to keep him back. It's all hands to the pump. Boherbue showing that true character now. Driving forward once again. They are very, very good at this, and it has been driven into them in training, never to give up until the final whistle. And back over again to Stephen Lynch, and Stephen goes down injured. And now it's going to be a difficult situation for whoever has this free. With only 1 minute to go. Are we going to have a grandstand finish here in Duhallow? Are we going to have a goal out of nothing? Are we going to have a point? And then a 2-point lead going into overtime, and who knows what will happen then? Difficult at this stage to anticipate what's going to happen, but I can tell you one thing. Paul Murphy is marshalling his defence. Roger Casey is being shepherded out there. Martin Casey knows all about kicking frees, trying to get in his way. And actually it isn't Roger, it's an outfield player driving the ball in and trying to work it through, and James Daly has it and he's working it, and Dennis Carroll O'Connor now trying to work it, and that's going nowhere. It's come back out, but they still have it. James O'Connor again. James O'Connor coming forward. James O'Connor back over to the wing back, and it's Roger Casey coming through, and it hits the and great Scott, who better a man than Roger Casey strikes the post, and the whole ironworks is still moving. And if you see that picture with the rain coming down, you're not seeing things. It isn't an earthquake. That crossbar and uprights are still shaking. Dan Joe Murphy, who's played many of the game in ROCKCHAPEL, trying to get the referee to call a halt to proceedings. Roger will be disappointed because I think he was forced onto his weaker left foot, but Roger was very, very unlucky there. I did warn you, of course, that he was capable of one of them, and he's the man for the big occasion. Unlucky there. Paul Murphy drives forward. Paul Murphy has the ball. What's Paul going to do now? And yes, the cool head for the big occasion. Come at the hour, come at the man. And is this the man, John Murphy? Is this going to be that 4th point? Is it going to be that 4th point? Sean Murphy's below me. He says yes. Jerry O'Mahony looks to heaven. And divine inspiration. We are now gone into overtime. Divine inspiration. They are now 4 points up. Kevin Murphy getting ready to take this kick out. A bit of gamesmanship going on here. PJ Murphy on the ground. The referee going to his umpires trying to decide, is there something here to complain about? A 4-point lead is going to be very difficult for Boherbue now. It's one thing to be down by 1 score, they're down 2. And as goes in the advertisement, the current ad from the Hollimer Hertic on radio, cool August Cooleen. I'm afraid you're not going to get a cool August Cooleen in one movement. But don't write off Boherbue yet. Anything can happen. What happens here now could be very important. The referee is talking to Kevin Murphy. He's booking Kevin Murphy. PJ Murphy is now, after getting up, he's got a yellow card. He's going to allow the kick out, I think. Rockchapel going to win their 6th Duhallow Junior Football title. County Junior champions on 1 occasion, County Intermediate 1 occasion. Is Paul Murphy going to captain this team to historic success? A team that at the start of the year certainly didn't look like potential winners of the championship. Had been going through a lean spell, but they got all hands to the pump. And since Paul has arrived back from the blue and white of Cavan, certainly things have gone their way. They've worked hard, they've worked long hours, they've done a lot of training here in Ballydesmond while their own pitch is closed. Renovations being done there and drainage by the Kelly brothers here from Ballydesmond, of course. And the final whistle is blown. And Rockchapel are the 2001 Duhallow Junior Football champions on the scoreline of 9 points to 5. Boherbue disconsolate. Can't believe what's happened. Crowding all over the pitch. The maroon and white are back on top and the good old days have arrived. And I see Johnny Stack, better known as Purdy in his older days when he was playing, a great man to get a goal in the last minute. He's in there running around like a child. They're absolutely delighted. They've gone down now. Johnny Mahoney has his hands around, I think there's Martin Casey. I wonder is Johnny Casey here today for this historic day? I wonder is Decky Mahoney down here from County Meath? These are the great players they had in the past, but this present generation have certainly not left the side down. And very sportingly, Mossy Lee, he goes down to Kieran, or to Kevin Murphy, to shake hands. The Rockchapel flag is up. And Billy Lane now tells us that the presentation will take place by the chairman of the Duhallow board, I imagine down by the dressing rooms. And we probably now will send a mobile cameraman down there for the presentation. But certainly here from the commentary box, best wishes to Rockchapel, commiserations to a game Boherbue team, a great year for them, nothing to complain about, certainly nothing to be disappointed about, a great Examiner Cup victory, championship finalists in 2001, a bridge too far I suppose, but certainly they'll be back again. One wonders will Rockchapel be able to lift it from here and go the whole way in the county, which they've done before. Paul Murphy absolutely over the moon. I'd say this means a great deal to him. Colin Murphy, his first big final win, and for most of this team their first Duhallow championship. Cocardicus to Rockchapel, well done to them. Hard luck to Boherbue, and we'll go down now for the presentation.
We're going to Rock.
Huh?
We're going to Rock now.
Yeah, we'll be going to.
Come on, boy.
Sorry. You want to just...
You're turning it up with Mom Kelly, you're in things
Could we have the other members of the Rockchapel team, please?
Come on, Dan. Go ahead.
I think I don't want it. I give it a more, please.
I want to show it. Hi, John,
I'm not fight.
What's it, man? What's it, man? Hi, John. What's it, man? What's it, man? What's it, man?
Thomas Mahoney, please. Johnny Mahoney, Joe Collins.
Johnny Mahoney, Joe Collins.
Thomas Mahoney, please. Greenushla, our son Krista Duhallow, Boherbue breakers of wall is the sock from Dorian. I sock from Clearshaw away again and sock anew. Boherbue breakers slash of wall, the common Ballydesmond. Augustin Multor, Gerard Morton. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Duhallow board, I would like to thank both teams for the fine game of football they gave us here today. I think there's credit due to both of them. It was a novel final because this is the first time that both of them met in a final. I would like to sincerely thank the Ballydesmond club for the magnificent condition of the pitch and the venue. I would like to thank them for their stewarding. I think everybody came into the pitch very comfortably today and had an excellent view of the game. And for that I thank them very sincerely. And also for the production of a magnificent programme. I would like to, on behalf of the Duhallow board, to thank the Newmarket Pipe Band for the entertainment they gave us before the game and during half time in the game. I think too our referee Gerard Morton deserves our gratitude. I think his handling of the game was excellent. Now, we always find with referees, of course, that when you are a partisan, you certainly disagree with the frees he gives against your team. But I think Joe handled it very well today, and I'd like to thank him very sincerely. Our commiserations to Boherbue. They contributed to a fine game of football, and I know, of course, that they go home very disappointed. But as we say as Gaeilge, big lie and bear, and their day is coming because they have a fine team of fine young players, and they shouldn't be too downhearted today. They played in a very fine final, and I'd like to thank them for the contribution they have made, and indeed for their supporters' contribution as well. Boherbue. And now, after many years, our congratulations to that magnificent team from ROCKCHAPEL. There is no denying, of course, that over this competition. They have been, I would think, nearly the favourites to win it. But they gave a fine exhibition of football today, and nobody was going to deny them the victory. So congratulations to you, Chapel na Carriga. I would like to wish them well when they go out and represent us in the county championship. And I know that we are going to be proud of them, win, lose or draw, because they will play fine sporting games of football. And we are looking forward indeed to supporting them. And I'm sure that everybody in Duhallow from now on will be a ROCKCHAPEL follower. And certainly ROCKCHAPEL will be looking for your support and will require your support. Tasha de Fivle de Gumsenish and Corn of Rin of Runna of Road Captain. It is now my privilege to hand the cup over to your captain, Paul Murphy. And I'm sure there is nobody from any, I'd say, townland in Duhallow that today wouldn't agree that Paul is a very, very worthy captain and gave great leadership to his team, playing a magnificent game himself. And now, Paul, I am privileged to hand over this trophy to you as a symbol of your victory today in the Duhallow Junior Football Championship. Congratulations, Paul and ROCKCHAPEL.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's one of the proudest moments of my life, standing up here in front of you with this trophy. It means so much to us to be after claiming a Duhallow final again. We've tried and tried and tried. This is the year, it's ours. I'm so happy I can't even talk today. No team, and that goes for any team, I'm sure, that wins anything, gets there without the support of countless others. And there's no difference with ROCKCHAPEL. And it's not just the 27 panel of fellows standing up in front of you here. It's people who throughout the parish and in every angle and every way have gone together and pulled together and got behind us, encouraged us, and helped us in ways that people don't even imagine. There's been people who fed us, there's been people who washed our jerseys, there's been people who've made flags, there's been people who, by sacrifices on their own behalves, has made it possible for a bunch of fellas up here to be able to give the effort, and the effort that it takes to win these things, lads, and anyone that's out there, is phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal. It's gone beyond, like, amateur sport even. It's gone beyond it to win it. And I can't express my thanks or my gratitude that I'm the one that has benefited from all of your sacrifices. And that's people in every facet of ROCKCHAPEL and throughout the division that's got behind us. And there's people who've come travelling far today even to see us. And I can't, like I say, express my thanks and gratitude to all of you that I'm lucky and privileged enough to be up here accepting the glory of all of your efforts. Thank you, everybody. Specifically, there's people I have to mention. Throughout the year, our pitch has been under repair. It's like golf is ground under repair. And we have benefited and we've been helped along by the Ballydesmond Club, by the Turner Brother Club, by the Abbey Field Club, and Mount Collins lads. And Bant here. And they're we travelled to those venues to train so that we could be in a good enough condition to be able to win the game today. I thank all of you folks. Our sponsors, the publicans of Rock Chapel, have been sponsors of us through thick and thin over a number of years. We're standing up here saying, no, we'll give it back to you folks. Other sponsors have got behind us in the last couple of weeks, and Johnny Stack, Car Sales, and Pat O'Connor, ADA Security, we thank you as well for your kind contributions. I touched on it briefly before, effort that we have had to put in, and that effort has been driven by ourselves to a small degree, but to, I suppose, to a greater degree by our mentors, namely Joe Collins. I hope he's up here. And the man here on my right hand side, who's won to this as much as I have, and as much as every one of us, Tom Carroll. We've come through this and we've beaten some teams, and you know, some days we've been lucky enough. We got there by hard graft and by a bit of luck and a bit of rub of the green on times. Today again, it's easy talk, but there has to be a second team, I suppose. And today, on today's day, it's Boherbue. The only thing, and I suppose there's kind consolation at this stage, there's little consolation at this stage to them. They have the Examiner Cup in their trophy cabinet. They've got to a Duhallow final. It has been a good year for Boherbue. Lads, I can't say anything to you, other than we'll give you 3 cheers, please. And I mean that, lads. We've been in the position before in '96. It took us this long to get back to it. We got back, but that's what it takes. It's resolve to get down, knuckle down again for next year. I hope you call behind me now, and we give 3 cheers for Boherbue. Hip hip! Hip hip! Hip hip! And lads, before you go, before everybody goes, there's a bunch of fellas standing here behind me, and there's 1 or 2 of them who haven't made it up yet. Thomas, if you're up there. You'll never, like I said before, I am so privileged to be captain of this side, boys, and everybody. I'm used to talking to players' meetings and stuff. I'm so privileged. Nothing we've asked of any men. Holidays were changed. Work was changed. People close to them as individuals maybe got left behind and ignored in the tide of this effort that was put in to achieve this today. But there's a bunch of fellas here, and everyone in Rock Chapel and everyone that supports Rock Chapel or anyone connected, you can be nothing but proud of them. I'm so proud. I am so proud that I'm captain of the team, boys. They put in an effort that no one can comprehend. We've over 100 training sessions done. Fellas have travelled from Cork, Waterford, through injuries, through thick and thin, Dublin. And you just have to be proud of them. I'm so proud. I'm proud to be representing them. I'm proud that we've won it. And that's it.
they put him out in that tree now? Where's Maurice? I get Maurice to get another put him out. We take your snaps right now, mate.
John! Mark! Mary, here's the phone. Mark!
How are you doing?
Oh, you're supposed to back. Thanks very much, Jacob. How are you? Hello. Hello.
ROCKCHAPEL selector Joe, tough game. What do you think at the end? Good victory.
Oh, a really tough encounter. We made very hard work of it. Probably had our chances to take a few points and take the pressure off ourselves, but showed great spirit and commitment to keep cutting in there, getting our tackles in and winning back the ball, even when it seemed we'd lost possession.
Yeah. What about half-time? Happy at half-time?
Happy, I thought we were, because we had played kind of against the wind, we had held them, and we were happy to have held it.
Any stage towards the end there you felt you were going to kick it away?
Yes, very worried with the last 10 minutes. I mean, we were the 3 points up, but it's a very dangerous position to be in. I would have thought that we should have got another point to be for our insurance, but at the end, I suppose, you have to give it to Boherbue. They were a good team, they tried their heart out. At the end, it was pure grit in our boys to hang on in there by the fingernails and win it.
What makes this team so different than other teams in the last since 1987? You've been involved in both in different capacities as a keeper, and make your comparisons now. What was the difference that brought victory to the Rocklet?
I would say one word: commitment. These guys have put it in what they didn't do with the last 10 years, since 87 really. It's the commitment. Coming to training from Waterford, up from Dungarvan, down from Cork, all over the country, wherever they were, they made sure they were here. They missed out on holidays to be there. Every chance they got, they were at training. There was no excuses taken.
Very good. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Joe. Full team of 2001. Jerry, a great day for ROCKCHAPEL football.
It is a great day for ROCKCHAPEL football. We're waiting since '96. We've had a lot of pain and anguish in the last whatever amount of years that is, and I mean we prepared for today. Like I mean, I know Boherbue did as well, but we prepared well for today. Myself and Tom and Joe, we've been through and yourself, Sean, we've been through the ropes in the late '80s, and I think we know what it is to win a championship. And we had many a battle with a lot of the younger fellas here to get hard training done, but I think Tom succeeded, and I think it showed this year. Fitness, I would say today was different now, but I think fitness was the key every day we played this year, except today. I don't know what happened today, because Boherbue, I think, were as fit as us.
I was asking Joe Leon, at any stage today during this game, did you doubt the Rock team at any stage?
No.
Not worried? Were you not worried?
Not to say I was worried. I was worried, but there's a difference between worrying and doubting. I worried. What did you ask me again now?
You said at any stage did you worry about the performance today? As the game went on, as the game progressed, is there any say that this is slipping or this game is going from us? Say for example, at the end of the first half. What were you feeling at the end of the first half?
I was happy in the end of the first half. I was happy in the end of the first half. We were against the wind. We had seen Boherbue last Sunday. We were impressed by Boherbue. But I mean, the last couple of points there that we got before half-time were vital. I mean, we were level at half-time was a psychological advantage to us.
Right.
We had the wind in the second half.
Okay, thanks, Jerry. Okay. Just a brief word here with one of the Rockchapel veterans here, a man fairly passionate about Rockchapel football. I just want to ask you one question here, Dan. What does this mean to Rockchapel football?
Well, it means a lot. It means a lot to Rockchapel football because in the start of the year, we didn't think we'd win the Junior Football Championship. We beat Cullen by 2 points, and we beat, who was the next one we made? Mill Street by 2 points, and we beat Drum Tariff by 2 points. And we were only more or less living in hope, if you like. We were just getting away with it.
But improving as we went along, though.
Improving as we went along is right. But in the beginning of the year, if anyone said that Rockchapel would win the Duhallow division this year, I think a lot of people would be laughing at us. No, it is more than we expected, and it is great that we have the Duhallow championship back again. Yeah.
How do you fancy these for the county?
I wouldn't know. Jesus.
You're after over the big hurdle anyway today.
Yeah, that's the first one anyway. But we'll be hoping for another.
We have another day out anyway.
We have another day.
All right, thanks, Dan Casey.
Okay.
Two men here. Okay, we're talking here to Colin.
Colin's ahead, is that right? We're going to send him. John. What are you doing? Give us a compliment.
Okay, we're talking here to two of the Rockchapel winning outstanding games today. On my left here is Conor Giddy and the fullback Colin Murphy. Colin, a great day for Rockchapel.
Mighty. It's still hard to comprehend that we've won it. We've been working hard all year for this. We've put in so many training sessions, and I suppose it could have gone either way up to a point, but we just seem to, get the upper hand around the middle of the field and more ball, and we could have got some more scores, but
by the way, were you worried at the loss of those scores in midway going to the second half? We were kicking ball and it was not going over. Were you worried?
Yeah, I was, because my man was saying to one of his men up front that it's like every score that we miss, he said, this is the chance, this is our chance, he said. But it just worked in our favour anyway.
Was it a physical game out there?
Yeah, very physical. But I think we should leave that. I'll leave that to the video.
Right. Thanks, Colin. That's Colin about the fullback. Right, we have another man who's another consistent performer all year for Rockchapel, the cornerback, probably the most consistent player we had all the year. This is Conor Giddy. Conor, a great day for you.
Great day. Now then we got the breaks and we're delighted to have the victory.
What does this victory mean for you? To you?
Just, I have no words to explain it, John. No words at all. It's just
you've been there for a long time. 96.
For a long time, and we have just never got the chance. We got the chance, we really weren't able to get it, but today's our day, and we're delighted.
What makes this team different than other teams? The other performance, 96, we lost it. I was asking somebody early on. What makes this difference? You were involved since 96 now. What makes the difference in this team?
I don't know. I suppose we had more hunger today, I'd say, Sean.
Yeah.
And that was basically what won it for us. We just wanted it more, and we did the business, and that was it. Things worked well for us. We got the lucky breaks, and that's
great stuff, Conor. Will you celebrate tonight?
We might, a small bit anyway.
Thanks, that's Conor. Then we're here with another consistent performer all the year, from the fittest and fastest men in the Rockchapel team, the wing back. David, a great day for you, a great day for Rock football.
It's a great day, alright. It's nice to win. I suppose we're looking for a really long time. We tried in 96 and we failed, and I suppose since we're missing a lot of lads and with injuries and everything, and we have them all back this year. We put in the effort and got back the result in the end of the day. It all paid off.
Was it a physical game out there?
The conditions were tough, but it was a clean game of football. But it's great.
Were you worried at the start of the second half when we were all that ball we were kicking there, erratic, going wide? Were you worried as you looked down the field? And
I was, but I suppose every championship game we had this year, I think our forwards never really came into the game until the second half.
Yeah.
And then they kind of dominated the game, in the second half of every game.
Right.
So that was the only thing that kind of kept me going,
Yeah. You covered a rake of ground up and down that wing all the time, and putting in tackles and linking up and all of that. Any times were the legs tired at the end?
Yeah, the legs were getting fairly tired at the end, alright, but we've good fast backs in the Rock team. We're all able to cover each other, so it was a big help.
There's a modest man, but if a man with fast pair of legs, you can't beat it. David Murphy, the wing back. I'm here with Tom Carroll, the Rockchapel coach for this year, the victorious Rock team. Tom, this is must be one of the proudest days for you in Rockchapel football.
Delighted, John. Delighted. it makes up for 96 really. It's a lot of hard work gone in the meantime, and you know, these players set their task ahead, their target at the start of the year, and we started training last mid-February, and all in all we've up to 100 sessions between games and training done since then, and I'm delighted for the players really, you know, delighted for everyone.
A lot of your young guns out there today delivered, Anthony O'Donnell in particular. Anthony, a young player coming through, must be particularly happy for that man. Oh,
I was very delighted for Anthony, because in fairness to the man, he had trained very hard all year and wasn't making the team as a starting player in our previous 3 games, and in fairness, when Jeffrey Collins was out injured today, he came on and he did marvellous. He scored 2 mighty points in the second half, and you know, I think they were the winning of the game really.
Mm-hmm. Another question there, Tom. The penalty save, an outstanding save from Kevin Murphy, no doubt. At that stage, did you think that was a setback? Did you think your team could come again, or?
I was a bit concerned, Sean, really. Missing a penalty and a quarter of an hour to go. You know, we were only up 2 points, and you know, if they got a point at the other end, I was afraid maybe panic might set in. But we just got the next score, and thankfully it put us to 3 ahead. And I thought the fourth would never come, even though we missed a few great chances.
They did, yeah, that's right. Yeah, a great chance. Fitness was the key here, Tom. These are a fit team.
I suppose most teams are fit nowadays, but I suppose All Boys weren't going to give up easy with all the training they had done, and in fairness, we knew Boherbue were exceptionally fit as well, because their record speaks for itself. Kanturk had beaten the Duhallow champions, and they had gone on and beaten Kanturk, and you know, that speaks for itself. And they've already won the Examiner Cup this year, so I'm sure Boherbue will be back too, because just like us in '96, they're a very young team, and I'm sure they'll be back.
Tom, before you, Tom, you're probably on the holidays for the week, Tom, are you? You won't be able to go anywhere tomorrow morning.
There'll be a day or two taken off, probably, all right.
A day or two. ROCKCHAPEL is the place to be tonight, folks. Thanks. Thanks, Tom. Defeated finalists in 1996, county winners in 1987. ROCKCHAPEL leave Ballydesmond winning, having captured the Duhallow Junior Football Championship 2001. And no doubt about it, ROCKCHAPEL is the place to be tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, no way.